So glad we have you here today. We didn't see each other for how many years?
4 years.
4 years.
Very long time. I
Very
think
long time.
the last time I came was for further math tutoring.
Okay. So could you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, so my name is Jean. My first name is Apicha, last name Tangwiwat. I'm a recent graduate from NYU Stern School of Business. I studied business with the co-concentrations in finance and data science.
Today we're going to talk a little bit back. So when back in high school, when did you know that you want to pursue in this field among the other options you have?
That's a very good question. And going back in time, I think I was conflicted between two big choices. It was either medicine or either going through the business, economics, mathematics field. So with medicine, both my parents are doctors. I kind of knew to a certain extent what a day-to-day life of a doctor is like because of my parents. But economics, I was very intrigued about the business world around me. I'm a consumer of many goods, so I wanted to see what went through behind the decision making before the release of a product. So that was like the two big motivations for me. And then A-level topics, I chose 5 A-level subjects.
Which normally 4, right?
Yeah, so normally people take either 3 or 4, but I chose 5 knowing that I would drop one subject because I wanted to leave my doors open for either econ or medicine. So I chose biology, chemistry, economics, math, and further math.
That all tough subjects.
Especially biology and chemistry. Going in for half a term, I was like, oh no, I cannot do this. This is so difficult. After half a term, I was like, okay, medicine is not for me. It's not something that I'm super interested in. So I dropped biology and chemistry, and then I picked up geography instead, a subject that I truly enjoyed and I wanted to like complement learning about the world around me. So those are the final 4 that I picked. I also did internships to make sure that, you know, econ and business is the right path for me.
Okay.
And my mentors during the internships taught me a lot, and that solidified my choice in going into economics.
You enjoy it?
Yeah, I really did. I think experiences and internships and all those things beyond like the academic sense gives you a certain grasp of what you want to actually do, because within the classroom is so hard because everything's so theoretical, but within the real world, when you go in and actually get hands-on work, you truly understand what that job entails.
Normally when people study in UK, when you go to the university, normally UK is the easier part because it's the same curriculum and everything can be used right away, your grade and everything, but you have a little bit twisted. Do you have any problem regarding to change the country?
So to answer your first question about why the US over the UK, is that because I believe that the British curriculum is basically you kind of have to choose what you want to study right away. So if I wanted to do econ, I have to apply for econ at this university rather than applying to the university. Whereas the US, you're just applying to the college. And then you go in, you take different classes according to the liberal arts curriculum. And then you then pick your major at the end of your second or at the start of your 3rd year. So you still have 2 years to do a trial and error of what subjects you want to do at the end. And I think that's why I prefer the US over the UK. I was lucky enough to have that choice. But I still applied to the UK regardless, but I knew that I wanted to go to the US, so I applied to NYU early decision, which means that if I get in, I know if I get in by December of my year 13, senior year of high school. And then once I get in, I get in. It's unconditional offer. So I have my senior year free rather than stressing out about A-levels to get the grades. For me, going into business school in the US allowed me to learn about different prongs, different paths of business. So finance, marketing, statistics, everything. And then I chose later on that, I like finance and I wanted to do data science. So it still left me that time because I believe that no one kind of knows what they want to do at the age of 18. But moving on to your second question, was it obstacles or
Yeah.
what was difficult about
Yeah.
changing the system. I think I was at Harrow and then I moved to Cheltenham Ladies. Moving within the same academic system wasn't tough. I think the hard part was the culture shock. I think one of the funny stories that I experienced when I moved there was that when I went to the cafeteria for food, there was no rice, right? And I was like, where's the rice? There's only potatoes and some meat. So I got my food and then I grabbed a fork and a spoon to get ready to eat. And then my friend kind of looked at me like, what are you doing? Like, why are you grabbing a spoon? What are you eating the spoon with? There's no soup. I was like, wait, this is how I normally eat back in Thailand. They're like, no, you pick up a fork and a knife. So then I had to change my whole method from then on. And I think that was like a culture shock. But then moving to the UK to the US, it was difficult in the sense that in the UK, everything's 100% weighted on exams, so GCSEs and A-levels. So I can kind of slack off and relax a little bit throughout the year. But in the US, it's like attendance, participation, assignment, papers, quizzes. Everything matters and it's scattered throughout the semester. I kind of had to be good with time management, organizational skills, had to be on point in college.
Nice. Could you tell me more about NYU because it's a big name and is that difficult to get in?
I think a lot of the top 100 schools in both the UK and the US are very difficult to get in. Each school kind of accepts the type of students that they believe would fit in with the school in the US. What really matters in the US application is that your Common App essay, so that's an essay about yourself, your grades, your standardized testing, so SATs, ACTs, as well as your extracurriculars matters. So there's these different 4 aspects that matters in the application rather than just grades and your personal statement. I think extracurriculars and doing things beyond the classroom can show that you're unique and you're different from another applicant. What I recommend students do is that look into clubs or any leadership positions that you could join in high school to show that you're passionate about something beyond the classroom and show that you can pick up those soft skills from those positions and those clubs and that makes you unique and write about them in your personal statement.
So in extracurricular, how many options do you have to fill in?
Yeah, so I believe when I applied it was 10, so you have 10 slots to apply. And then you can write about your jobs that you have, so it doesn't have to just be extracurriculars, it can be internships. It can also be research, if you've done any research. Started a business, you can write that there. So for me, it was sports, it was clubs, it was also internships that was part of that I wrote in. Try to max it out if possible, and then write in like a short description of what you did in the club rather than explaining the club itself. But for me, like I started this filmmaking club in high school and I wrote about it in my personal essay. Like my whole essay was about filmmaking and people are actually surprised that I didn't write about business or something like that. But I was like, that was something I was passionate about and I mixed in Star Wars as well into my essay because I like Star Wars. And so like show how you're unique and show how why they should take you over another person. And I think that's what's important. I think when I went to NYU, everyone around me were top students. They are top of their class, they got straight A's. Or someone at Harvard, 4.6 GPA, like how is that possible, right?
So it's like you are one of the Marvel.
Yeah, like everyone's smart and everyone is capable of getting A's. But what a lot of people are not capable of doing is getting those A's and having like 2 leadership positions. Show that you're multifaceted, show that you're more than just academics. I think that's what is important.
Could you tell me a little bit more, because we discussed earlier before this interview that you also had a part of the president?
I think for me, I tried to put myself out there because I was a very shy person back in Harrow. And so when I tried to like step out of my comfort zone, I think it challenges me as well by taking up those leadership positions, as well as allow me to learn from my peers, and I think that's very important. So ever since high school, I did volunteering jobs, but also I was a head of house, which meant that taking in people's feedback and then relaying that towards like the house mistress because I was in boarding school. And then in college, I joined Thai Students Association. I was the treasurer for a year, and then I was the vice president for a year. And then for my other club, Beta Alpha Psi, which is like a business honor society, I was a marketing committee member for 1 year, and then I became a candidate master, which meant that I was in charge of the whole like pledging process for the students, and I became a president in my last year of college. So keeping myself busy throughout is very important.
Could you say the name again?
Beta Alpha Psi. So the Greek characters. In the US, you might have heard there's like fraternities and sororities. So they're Greek organizations that are set up for social purposes or for philanthropy or for business. So my club specifically is an honor society that has been set up for finance, accounting, and data science. So for any students who are taking those majors, they can join, meet students who are studying those fields too. And then it helps with community building and making people make friends, but also learn professional skills such as interviewing, how to get ready for jobs and life beyond college.
Time flies so fast. I can't imagine you little kid that shy anymore. So what changed you? So you have an opportunity to speak in front of a lot of people?
For me, I think I tried a lot to overcome any weaknesses that I have. Obviously, I still have certain weaknesses. Like I do still get nervous sometimes when I speak in front of a large crowd. But when I went to the UK, my mom signed me up for this like drama class. It was like a small group drama class that improv skills. It was like improv. It was also like learning scripts. But also like I was interested in theater. So when I went, it was a fun thing to do, but also helped me practice like speech and talking in front of a big group of people. And then so when I went to the US, I think one thing I was super scared of is raising my hand in class. But I was very driven because 20% of my grade was participation. So I had to put my hands up, right? So I think the scary part was doing it the first time, but after doing it, it was fine. If I say the wrong answer, I think what can be the worst thing, right? I thought to myself, I was like, well, maybe some people would laugh, some people would judge me, but who cares? Like, as long as I participate. And I think changing that mindset allowed me to be more confident.
That's blow up my mind. When we're teaching about further math back in the day, you were a little bit like a nerd, right? I thought you would find yourself someday, but that's blow my mind that you found yourself in so many different ways and you try a lot of things. So
I think I kept myself pretty busy since in the UK. I still think I'm a little bit of a nerd, honestly. Like I still have moments where I geek out at certain things. Like I have my interests that people might think it's a bit weird, but I think it's fine. Like that is me. So I found my crowd. I found friends that like me for who I am, and I think that helps me a lot more too. It allows me to come out and be who I am, come out of my shell a little bit more. And finding people who accepted that is really nice.
So what do you plan to do with your degrees?
So with my degree, there's so many things you can do with it because business is so broad. Typically, a lot of the students who are in Stern studying finance go into the finance field because it's in New York City. People tend to go to investment banking, sales and trading, asset management, or go into management consulting, which is something I'm doing. But there's also people going into like software engineering or like going into law school. So it's very broad. But next step for me is I'm going to be working in the city, in New York City, doing management consulting, specifically strategy consulting. So advising firms how to solve their problems after their merger or splitting off. Very interesting stuff.
When it's gonna be started?
So I started in October, but I interned at this same company last year. So I got a return offer at the end of the summer.
Do you have any interview tips on any questions regarding to the job offer or university offer that is surprised you?
Yeah, I'll just preface it by saying that interviews normally split off into like a behavioral portion and
Okay.
a technical portion.
Okay.
So, but I'll talk about the behavioral portion.
Yep.
I think the interview question that stumped me the most was describe your leadership style in 3 words.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think that was particularly difficult because I didn't prepare for it, and
Okay.
3 words, it was so hard to pick. But I think being able to think on your feet is important in an interview. But during an interview, my recommendation for students is to be succinct with their answers. Don't drag it out for too long, but people tend to spend a long time on the storytelling portion of the interview answer.
Yep.
But I think the most important part is the action and the results.
Okay.
What specifically did you do in that situation, and what was your learning like point? What did you learn from that thing? And I think that's the biggest tip I can give to someone. Action and results rather than situation and task.
I have a last question. If the people think about New York and want to be there, is there any difference, or can you tell that's what it looks like to be in New York?
I love TV shows, and I think I told you a lot of times that I keep watching a lot of TV shows. I watch Gossip Girl, and I don't know if a lot of people know Gossip Girl.
I know.
But it's like this sappy high school girl drama show. And I saw it and I was like, everyone's living such a lavish life. They're in limos and they're going shopping, and New York looks so nice. They're eating brunch, they're going for dinner. I get there, and the first thing I smell after walking out the airport was pee. Like, it smells like pee. It smells like
Okay.
it smells like bad things all around.
Are you in the wrong city or something like
No, like New York is just, if you don't romanticize New York,
Okay.
it's just trash, rats,
Wow.
and pee. But yeah, I think there's nice parts too. It's fun, it's big. There's so
Yeah.
many cultures that meet.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like about it. It's
Yeah.
you're free, you can be who you are without judgment.
Mhm.
But obviously, like every other city, there's dangerous parts. There's parts that, you shouldn't be walking there by yourself at night. So be vigilant, be mindful of where you're going.
Yeah.
I think that's very important because it's a big city.
Okay. So thank you for your time today.
Of course, thank you for having me.